We can't replace chemicals completely because as a consumer, we're all too spoiled. I find myself when I go buy a tomato in the grocery store, it has a blemish on it, I pick one that's perfect. Well, the nutritional value and the taste is exactly the same. But as consumers, we're just spoiled. And so, but this could go a long way. And the other big thing about adding these organic materials to your soils is that you're going to retain water. And that's a big thing now. Water is, you can save 30% of your water right off the bat by using this material with your mixes with it. And you can plant right in it. You can use it as a crop dressing. You can just do about anything with it because it's very benign. It won't hurt your plant. And it doesn't have bacteria or anything in there that will harm it at all. But right now, we're selling every ounce of the stuff we were making of in Okeechobee. And then the nursery industry hit the wall with this building crunch, and nobody's selling plants. So there's a lot of material now that we're trying to market and other things. One of the places we're going to try is where they transplant the vegetable plants in the little trays, and then they sell them to the farmer. Well, they can do that in the trays, and they wouldn't have to use commercial fertilizer, period. We'll start the plants right off. But as I said, organic growers are very interested. They're depressed financially right now too. Arturo, he was talking about, he went and got a bunch of horse manure from Calder and put it in that 10-acre field out there, but he didn't compost it first. And in horse bedding, there's not near enough manure for a nitrogen source anyway. So he's got all this cellulose and a little bit of manure, and it's going to take him 2 years to get that stuff, because right now it's robbing every bit of nutrients out of the soil, you know, into the decomposition of that material. So we would try to help Art, you know, try to do something. That's what he needs to do. And this particular dairy supplies milk to Publix, so they use none of the growth hormones, none of the antibiotics. The only thing that's not organic is that they grow the hay with some fertilizer.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I've been so excited that Publix has their green ones on milk now.
Oh, yeah.
So I hear good things.
Well, I mean, even the regular milk now has what they call BHT, which is the growth hormone. All that, they're not using any of that anymore. And this farmer is so cool. Of course, he's progressive because he allowed us to come to his farm and test all this stuff. But he had this big hay field, it's about 100 acres. And the water that comes off of our manure goes into a pond, and then it goes to another pond. And that's the water that they flush the barn with, and they also irrigate the hay with. And there's some nutrients left in that water. But he had a big infestation of armyworms. And I was waiting for the spray wagon to come out or the airplanes to come spray it. Well, what he did, he went out and mowed it, go close to the roots. The next day, there was 10,000 birds in the field. And they ate up all the armyworms, no chemicals, no money. You know, I mean, this guy is really smart, and he's taught me a lot. I was telling a lady earlier that I learned a lot about the dairy industry. The price of milk is directly attributed to the price of cheese. And the price of cheese is directly attributed to how much pizza is sold every week. And so the pizza industry, pizza because they are the biggest users of cheese, the sale of pizza is what governs the price of milk. And of course now, the other problem with milk, but of course the other problem we're running into now is corn, which is the state, whatever, it's going for fuel, and a bushel of corn went from $4 to about $9 a bushel. But what they're doing now is they're going to grow their own corn and make it into silage. I mean, that's the only way you can do it. But this year it's really hurt them pretty bad. But learned a lot about that. Learned a lot about the citrus industry. They get more money from the pulp and the peel and the pectin and everything as a byproduct than they get for the juice. And so every bit of the citrus, it's amazing that they're found, you know, things to use for. These compost machines are kind of neat. We have one up in Mayo, Florida, for a chicken house. And with this pandemic bird flu, the manure is a problem. So what we're doing is not only are we composting the chicken manure, but the dead birds. There's quite a bit of mortality in these chicken houses. So you have to run the dead birds through a grinder, you put it in this machine, and in 3 days, you don't find a beak, you don't find a feather or a bone, it's all turned into compost. And so your heat, but your heat, you know, you're not going to have any diseases, and that's the big thing with animal manure, is to make sure they're safe. And like I said, you would, if I showed this to somebody and told them sell that for $20 a cubic yard, FOB up in Okeechobee, and the shipping's quite a bit. You can put 50 cubic yards on a semi because it's so light, and so they charge $400 for 50 cubic yard load to bring it down here. But I would be glad to donate to your organization. You know, if you got a small dump truck or pickup trucks or anything like that, I'll go up there and I'll load you up.
We're on our way, we'll be there in a couple weeks.
That's fine.
From here.
Sure.
It's a convoy, right?
And I don't think, you know, again, the sludge material, I can understand some concerns, but the cow manure stuff is, and I mean, and using manures, it's in the Bible. I mean, we've been doing this for centuries. While we got away from it, we have to understand we have to make it safe. We have to make sure we know what we're doing. But once that's done, it's just such a win-win for everyone. And I do sell some bags of this cow manure material, $5 a bag for a big old bag of it. And I got some with me, and then I got some down at the office in the city. I have some business cards here if you're interested. Also, our office does a lot with irrigation. And if you all are interested in irrigation, I have a speaker that can come and talk about, they have an urban and an agricultural irrigation laboratory. They'll actually come out and check your irrigation system free and tell you how to make it better, what improvements you can do. They help you get your water use permits with the South Florida Water Management District. They'll do all those things free of charge, and they're funded through the Water Management District. But and we also with the school. We've been to your school with the planting. You know, if not, you know, talk to me. We come with plants and we do a little garden for the children. And they help us do it, and we can you know, so we can do that. We do that all over the Dade County.
Just for curiosity, when you said that you could use it in the trays instead of soil for the transplant, so it has no problem with burning the roots or anything else?
No, it's very benign. It's 2% nitrogen, but it's water inside will slow release nitrogen. And so Gabrielle Mazeruski, I guess you know Gabrielle, she bought a 50-yard load of this, and all of her organic food is being grown in this, and she just loves it. I mean, she started little tomato plants in the liners from seed. She's done flowers, all kinds of different things with this material.
I just ran her on Monday at EJ's and said, oh, what's the Earth Society? And she said, I just love that stuff.
And I've been doing this for about 20 years. I was telling a little story from Hurricane Andrew. I worked for the Department of Agriculture, and they were burning all this clean wood waste, and the avocado groves were blown over. Well, we went to FEMA and kind of strong-armed and said, if you don't do something different than this, we're going to go to 60 Minutes and you're going to be on TV. This Colonel Rock Salt from the Army Corps said, are you threatening me? And I said, yeah. So we got FEMA to fund mulching of 23 grinding sites all over Dade County, and we made mulch and gave it back to the farmers. And on the whole, it was successful. I had a lot of trouble with contractors because they got paid for the finished product, and so they take their screens out, and I got a call from a farmer and said, they just rolled me a load that's the size of my fist, you know. We have to pick it up and take it back, and then we have to find a guy, and usually it was a stealth grinder, some guy hiding in the grove somewhere grinding this stuff up. We also did 4,000 acres of avocado and mango groves where we took hand chippers, drug them through the grove, and all the broken limbs, we ground it up and poured it right back on the ground again. Turns into soil in a few years. The people that were real smart with these, because we give them 50-yard loads if they wanted it, you know, just sign up for it, is if they left it sit for a year or so, and then they would go to it, dig